Tension erupted live on The View when country music star LeAnn Rimes found herself locked in a surprisingly heated back and forth with longtime co-host Joy Behar. What started as a seemingly lighthearted segment about LeAnn's music and upcoming tour quickly spiraled into uncomfortable territory when Joy pivoted the conversation toward the singer's past struggles with mental health and her publicized affair years ago. LeAnn, visibly tense, attempted to steer the discussion back to her career and recent projects. But Joy continued to press with what many viewers deemed provocative questions. "You said in interviews you've made peace with your past," Joy said with a probing tone. "But do you ever think the public really forgave you, or are you still trying to prove something?" That was the breaking point. LeAnn, her voice steady but icy, responded, "Joy, I came here to talk about the music I love, not to relive headlines from a decade ago." The studio grew silent, and even the other co-hosts looked uneasy. Seconds later, LeAnn calmly removed her microphone, said thank you for your time, and walked off the set, leaving the hosts and the audience in stunned silence. Within minutes, the internet exploded with reactions as the clip of LeAnn's walk-off was shared across social media platforms. Fans rushed to her defense, praising her poise and calling out Joy for what many labeled an ambush. Others argued that Joy was simply doing her job as a journalist, pressing for honesty and transparency. Meanwhile, The View issued a brief statement saying they respect all our guests' boundaries and are committed to thoughtful discussion. Without directly addressing the incident, LeAnn, however, did not stay silent. Hours later, she posted a statement to Instagram that read, "I believe in open conversations, but not when they're rooted in judgment and sensationalism. I stand for growth, not gossip." Support from fellow celebrities flooded in, with messages from artists like Kelsey Ballerini and Brandi Carlile applauding her grace. Joy, for her part, made no immediate comment, though the next day on The View, she made a vague remark about not every guest being ready for the truth, which only further inflamed debate. The incident not only reignited discussions about the boundaries between celebrity, privacy, and media probing, but it also exposed the ever-thinning line between tough journalism and tactless entertainment. In the end, LeAnn's walk-off became more than a moment of defiance. It became a cultural flashpoint in the ongoing conversation about dignity, past redemption, and the right to reclaim your own narrative. In the days following the explosive walk-off, LeAnn Rimes remained largely out of the spotlight, declining additional interviews and canceling a scheduled appearance on another daytime talk show, citing a need to reset. Meanwhile, The View producers were reportedly in damage control mode, reaching out to Rimes' team with apologies and explanations. Behind the scenes, insiders claimed that the pre-interview briefing had laid out a clear boundary: no deep dives into LeAnn's past relationships or mental health struggles. The fact that Joy Behar went there anyway fueled rumors of internal tension among The View co-hosts. One source close to the show said, "There's been growing concern that Joy has become too unpredictable during live segments. This incident just brought that conversation to the forefront." The controversy sparked widespread media debate, with panel discussions on rival networks questioning whether veteran hosts like Behar were out of touch with today's expectations around respectful discourse. The incident even caught the attention of media, ethicists, and mental health advocates, many of whom came to LeAnn's defense. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a well-known clinical psychologist, appeared on CNN to discuss the psychological harm of reopening old wounds under the guise of tough questions, calling the exchange a textbook example of triggering trauma for ratings. Fans started a hashtag campaign, #RespectLeAnn, urging media outlets to do better. Despite the tension, LeAnn handled the fallout with measured restraint. At a concert just a week later, she paused between songs to briefly address the moment, telling the crowd, "Sometimes walking away is the most powerful thing you can do." The crowd erupted in applause, clearly backing her decision. The ripple effect of her walk-off didn't just impact the legacy of her career, it served as a powerful reminder that even in the face of public scrutiny, grace and self-protection can still take center stage. Amid the media firestorm, Joy Behar finally addressed the incident on The View in a brief, somewhat defensive monologue. "Look, I ask questions. That's my job," she said. "I don't coddle celebrities." Her tone lacked remorse, sparking even more backlash online. Co-host Sunny Hostin visibly shifted in her seat during the speech, and Whoopi Goldberg cut in with a quick, "Let's move on," suggesting not everyone on the panel supported Joy's approach. ABC reportedly received hundreds of viewer complaints, and a Change.org petition calling for Behar's suspension gained traction, massing over 100,000 signatures in just 48 hours. LeAnn's team, meanwhile, remained silent, clearly opting to let public opinion speak for itself. However, in a subtle yet pointed Instagram story, LeAnn shared a quote that read, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time," widely interpreted as a dig at Behar. Entertainment journalists and PR experts weighed in, with several suggesting this moment could mark a turning point for both LeAnn and the aging talk show host. Asterisk, while Behar doubled down, LeAnn quietly took control of the narrative. In a surprise move, she granted an exclusive interview to People magazine, but with one conditional mention of The View instead. The article focused on her upcoming wellness retreat series and her advocacy for mental health awareness, painting her as a resilient and grounded figure. The public's response was overwhelmingly positive. Several celebrities, including Casey Musgraves and Mandy Moore, publicly praised LeAnn's grace under pressure, and the incident unexpectedly elevated her profile. Behind the scenes, networks began reconsidering the tone of their daytime programming. One unnamed producer admitted, "The old playbook of pushing emotional buttons for drama doesn't land the way it used to." The episode served as a wake-up call, not just for The View, but for daytime talk shows across the board, by walking off. LeAnn Rimes didn't just protect her. Peace Shy unknowingly sparked a broader conversation about respect, boundaries, and the changing standards of celebrity media culture, asterisk, in the weeks following the explosive confrontation. Producers at The View found themselves in damage control mode. Internal memos leaked to the press revealed that senior executives were re-evaluating interview protocols, with one particularly candid note admitting the need to balance provocation with professionalism. Meanwhile, LeAnn Rimes' team, emboldened by the wave of public sympathy, quietly declined all follow-up appearances on the show. Other celebrities began to reconsider their commitments as well. A-list guests like Reese Witherspoon and John Legend reportedly pulled out of scheduled interviews, citing the unpredictable tone of the show. This sent shockwaves through the network, with some insiders questioning whether Joy Behar's style had finally crossed the line from edgy to outdated, while Behar's defenders argued she was simply being herself. Critics pointed to a pattern of confrontational moments that were no longer landing as entertainment, rather as exploitation masked as journalism. Asterisk LeAnn, for her part, continued her upward momentum, with no official statement ever made about the incident. She let her actions do the talking. Her wellness podcast hit the top 10 on Spotify, and her music streams saw a significant boost, especially songs with themes of self-worth and emotional healing. Fans rallied behind her, using the hashtag #StandWithLeAnn, which trended multiple times over the month. One viral tweet read, "She walked out so gracefully, she taught a generation how to protect their energy in real time." Meanwhile, The View's ratings dipped slightly, and rumors swirled about behind-the-scenes tensions between Behar and her co-hosts. ABC issued a generic press release reaffirming their commitment to dynamic conversation, but industry insiders sensed the cracks were showing. In a surprising twist, LeAnn was later invited to co-host a special mental health roundtable on a rival network, a move many saw as a symbolic triumph. Her walk-off moment, originally framed as scandalous, had quietly evolved into a landmark statement on dignity in the public eye, asterisk. Months after the dramatic fallout, Joy Behar addressed the incident during a panel discussion at a journalism symposium in New York. When asked about the confrontation with LeAnn Rimes, she quipped, "Sometimes honesty makes people uncomfortable, especially celebrities." The remark was met with a mix of laughter and gasps, reinforcing her polarizing persona. However, sources close to The View claimed the network wasn't laughing. Behind the scenes, there were whispers of mandatory sensitivity. training for hosts, and a potential reshuffling of future on-air responsibilities. Joy's trademark candor, once considered an asset, was now being scrutinized through the lens of a shifting media culture. Audiences wanted authenticity, yes, but they no longer had tolerance for bullying masquerading as bluntness. The producers began courting younger, more media-savvy voices to join the panel in upcoming seasons, signaling a potential generational turnover. Meanwhile, LeAnn Rimes continued to thrive, redefining her image not just as a singer, but as a voice for emotional intelligence and boundary setting. She appeared on The Drew Barrymore Show, where she reflected on the confrontation without naming names. Sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. Silence speaks louder than conflict. That moment was widely shared online, with fans and even other public figures praising her poise. Fashion brands and wellness companies reached out to collaborate, recognizing her growing influence beyond music. The entire ordeal, which could have derailed her, became a powerful rebranding catalyst. Ironically, Joy's attempt to provoke had instead elevated LeAnn's career. The saga became a case study in modern media circles, proof that in today's climate, the person who stays grounded in grace often wins the long game. While those who stir chaos may find themselves increasingly isolated even if their mic is still on, by the time fall television premieres rolled around, the echoes of the LeAnn Rimes and Joy Behar showdown still lingered in entertainment circles. Tabloids continued to unearth fresh angles. Canticles and clips from the episode trended in cycles across TikTok and Instagram Reels, turning the confrontation into a viral masterclass in what not to do on daytime TV. Despite ABC's efforts to bury the clip with takedown notices, it was too late. Memes, remixes, and reaction videos flooded the internet, especially among younger viewers who used the moment to critique outdated talk show dynamics. This only amplified calls for Joy Behar's retirement from The View, with fans drawing comparisons between her combative style and the growing wave of empathetic, listener-first hosts. Petitions circulated, and even some longtime viewers began to voice fatigue over the show's reliance on confrontation over conversation, in stark contrast. LeAnn Rimes leaned into the moment with surprising clarity. She launched a short digital docuseries titled Finding Her Voice, focusing on themes of self-respect, boundaries, and emotional healing. The premiere episode, which touched on the incident without sensationalizing it, was praised for its maturity and depth, garnering millions of views within days. Meanwhile, she resumed her tour to sold-out crowds, where fans frequently brought up her poise during the altercation. During one emotional encore, she told the audience, "You don't have to fight to be heard. You just have to know your worth." That quote quickly went viral, stamped across merchandise, and quoted in op-eds as the perfect comeback to Joy's sarcasm. As the dust settled, it became clear who had evolved and who hadn't. LeAnn had turned a public ambush into a cultural victory, proving that the true power of a voice lies not in volume, but in how it's used when tested.